Josh, first and foremost, thank you for taking the time. I think it's amazing that, to see that you're still connected to the world of college football after, your time at Tennessee. And, it sounds like you got a big thing coming up, with Damien Harris as the Vols are getting ready to play the Alabama and everything. So just, what could you tell me a little bit about the Pepper Portal and this challenge you have with Damian Harris?
Yeah, definitely. Third Saturday in October, we know how big it is, and the game is poised to being definitely a huge game this Saturday between Alabama and Tennessee. And I'm excited to partner with Dr. Pepper and compete against Damian Harris and show him why Tennessee Vols are the best fans in college football. I think the take that Dr. Pepper is putting on game day with the Pepper Portal is extremely unique. It's going to give a live opportunity for our fans at Cool Beans in Knoxville to support our team from afar and show whether it's Alabama fans in Tuscaloosa or other Tennessee fans ideally celebrating a good day in Tuscaloosa, what the support is like from Knoxville. So I'm excited to partner with Dr. Pepper, compete against Damien, and support our Vols this upcoming Saturday.
Absolutely. And, it should be definitely should be a wonderful matchup. You got two of the best, quarterbacks in the country with Joey Aguilar and with Ty Simpson. And, just, these two ranked teams. Obviously, it's great to see a rivalry when, both teams are competitive on both sides. So just going into the matchup, just what are your thoughts on, what the Vols have done thus far? I believe they're at 5-1 this season.
They're rolling. I think they're playing really good football. We had two tough tests. We had to go on the road against Mississippi State and then Arkansas at home, who we lost to last year, and we're able to get over that hurdle and beat them at home last week. So I like where we're at as a team. Like I think our quarterback's playing well. I think our defense is playing well. The skill guys are making kept plays down the field. So we'll need all of them. We'll need all of them going into Tuscaloosa. Like that's not an easy place to play, especially Alabama's been good for a while, and they're good again this year, no matter what any reports say or what they've done in the past. Like they're a really good team. So I think it's going to be a great game. I think I have us coming out victorious. I think it's the first time in a while we've gone down. We'll go down to Tuscaloosa and get a win. But I think it's going to be a really good game. I'll be tuned in every second.
Most definitely. And, you bring up a great point about just being able to keep the trend of play rolling. Great start to the season thus far. And, really has been exciting to see what they've been able to put on the field this year product wise. And, as far as them traveling, I'm actually here in upstate New York. So I can speak to a little bit about when they played Syracuse in the season opener and then the kickoff in the Chick-fil-A Classic and just seeing how well they traveled. So just talking a little bit about yourself too, with your time down in Knoxville. Just, what was that experience like for you to be able to play for Tennessee and even just talking a little bit about playing against Bama, which was, ironically in the Nick Saban era.
Yeah, it was. I love my time at Tennessee. I think it started with the people in the atmosphere that are in Knoxville. It's a great place to go to school, great place to play football, and playing football in the SEC versus the best talent every single week in Neyland Stadium is what you dream about growing up. And so I loved my time there. We had some great matchups versus Alabama. They seemed to get the best of us each time we played. But my first snap in college football was on the road at Tuscaloosa. In that environment, um, we didn't have as good as a team as we have this year. My freshman year going in there, but still the environment was electric. And um, as I said, like those are the stages that you dream about playing. So. Watching from afar is really cool after like living it. I know whenever I'm finished playing, like the first thing I want to do is I've gone to games in Neyland and then obviously I've played in games away, but it's to go back then and experience those away games, cheer on my Vols from the fan side because no matter where you go in the SEC, it's always a beautiful game day. It's always a great matchup. It's always two historic programs battling against each other. And there's so many great rivalries that I've loved to grow up around and participate in, and then continue to cheer them on from the fan perspective.
Most definitely, yeah. It's been crazy to see just, with the changes in the landscape of college football and some of the, you know, historic programs like you mentioned joining the SEC, whether it's Texas, Oklahoma, even before that, Mizzou and Texas A&M, right? So to be able to see those teams, come in and just continue to push the conference forward, has really been a treat. Talking about yourself now and your career, just with you're up in New England now. Again, even talking about, me being here in upstate New York. I actually work for the Bills and write for the Bills on SI. So, saw what you guys did, Sunday night, a couple weeks or a week and a half or so ago. So, just what has it been like for you, to be a part of the organization, as this revitalization, new era now with Vrabel, and I know this is your second time working with Vrabel as well. So just what has it been like for you to be a part of that and really helping mentor a young up and coming quarterback in Drake Maye?
It's been good. Like I've enjoyed the experience and the opportunity. Coach Vrabel, I this time around is a little better just because we have like the full season and have had the off season to go through the program and getting ready for the season. So um it's been good. Like obviously it helps that we're playing good football right now, and now the key is to harness that momentum, keep it rolling, keep preparing, keep getting ready to put our best foot forward on Sunday. Um, because in this league, each week is a season of its own, and you just got to be 1-0 and keep it pushing. So, um, as you mentioned, like we had a great game up in Buffalo, and then we're able to go on the road again and beat the Saints. And now we got to go on the road again and play the Tennessee Titans. And it doesn't matter what's going on, like they're still professional football players, and they're going to come ready to play, and we have to prepare with the same intensity that we have in the past. So the weekend will be smooth. We'll get to Nashville Saturday. I'll get a nice Dr. Pepper, kick my feet up in the hotel room, watch my Vols take on Alabama Saturday night, and then we'll wake up and hit the ground running on Sunday, and ideally get another victory, go 2-0 this weekend, and get back to Boston and get ready for the next week.
Most definitely. Now, just talking a little bit about your partnership with Dr. Pepper, just if you could share more about it, what you have been able to, obviously the Pepper Portal's coming up, but just some of the things you guys have been able to work on together thus far, and some other campaigns and projects that you're looking forward to working on with Dr. Pepper.
I think the biggest thing is the Pepper Portal. It's coming up this Saturday. It's the first one of its kind, live stream between Knoxville and Tuscaloosa, where Tennessee fans are rocking out at Cool Beans, my old stomping ground, and really just showing why we're the best fan base in college football. Like, ideally it's, Tennessee fans talking to Alabama fans a little bit in pregame, and as the game gets rolling, it's Tennessee fans celebrating with Tennessee fans from afar. And I'm excited to see this concept continue to grow. I think it's a great opportunity on game day for fans to interact with fans from afar, but live and in action and be able to talk to each other. And, ideally, at some point, we may be able to give all the new schools a taste of what it's like to come to Knoxville for a game day, whether you're actually there in person or if you're back in Norman or Austin or College Station, it doesn't matter. You can still get that Rocky Top experience.
Most definitely. Yeah, it sounds like such an exciting opportunity for not only yourself but the fans especially, So, before I let you go, one quick question that I had is, as far as your experience at Tennessee, just um what what is one story you have about the fans that really like comes to mind about your experience as a volunteer?
Man, like I think the coolest thing that I saw was you come in as a freshman, 18 years old, you don't really know much about anything. And people in Knoxville are so welcoming. So you step on campus, you're really trying to, one, just get your feet up under you, become a college student, let alone a D1 athlete. And you go through those trials and tribulations, but the support there is unmatched. And you go there for 4 years, you love your time there, you have your success on the field, and then you leave right? And in so many places, like I think just in this world, you leave and that connection that you have with the place is just cut off at that moment. But with Knoxville and the way that they support their athletes both while you're on campus and then when you leave, like that connection really never ends. And so you leave, you come back once a year, you come back twice a year, you come back once every 2 years, but every time you step back on campus, man, it feels like you're that same 18-year-old that's just in love with East Tennessee and the people and the culture and just loves rocking some orange and cheering on their Vols on Saturday. So I've loved my experience on campus. And then since I've been gone, man, like the people have been nothing but good to me. And I've enjoyed the support that I've experienced from afar. Where you're in Denver on Sunday Night Football and you got Josh Dobbs Tennessee jerseys in the stands. So it's a pretty special place. And I hope everyone gets to experience a nice game day on Rocky Top.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. And, I think really just, having played college football myself as well, I think there's really nothing that can encapsulate just how when you're able to connect with a fan base as a player and then as a student as well, it really is one of the coolest things in the world. And then, like you said, to be able to go back as well, I think is awesome. So great to hear that. Great to hear about your experience, Josh. And definitely excited to see what the Pepper Portal is and how, the whole experience comes together for everybody. I'll definitely be watching. I know you will be. Anything else that you'd like to add or share before you go?
And does everyone make their way to Cool Beans in Knoxville on Saturday? Get yourself a nice Dr. Pepper. Enjoy the portal. Show some love, show some Tennessee love to the people in Tuscaloosa. Talk a little smack, but at the end of the day, cheer on the Vols and rock some orange. So appreciate you, my man. Go Vols.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you, Josh. It's been a pleasure. Hope to be chatting with you soon and can't wait to see
No
what the Vols do in Tuscaloosa.
doubt. Avoid that weather up there in New York. I know y'all got some.
Um, it's been thankfully today it's been a warmer day, so I'm not complaining. It's actually my birthday today too, so thankful we got
Happy
some good
birthday.
weather now that it's here in October. So much appreciated on that.
No doubt. Well, enjoy your birthday, my man.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Yep.
The partnership is amazing, right? First and foremost for me, right? Because I have the opportunity to engage with the fans. I have the opportunity to go and be with the fans, watch them pour out their passion, things like that. But then secondly, and I will say this is actually most important, what they do for the fans, right? Because you've got, for this matchup in particular, you've got Tennessee fans who have had the upper hand on Alabama for the first time in centuries, it seems like, as of recently. And they want to go, they want to pour out their passion, they want to have pride in their school. Same thing for Alabama fans. Y'all have had a leg up on us for a couple years now, but guess what? Ty Simpson, Jan Miller, Ryan Williams, Kalen DeBoer, we done figured it out. So what a better opportunity than to have these pepper portals, one at Ramajamas in Tuscaloosa, where all the action is going to be before a game. I can tell you that now. And then Cool Beans in Knoxville. So it creates an environment to where fans get to show up, be face to face with one another, pour out their passion, engage with former athletes, people like myself who could be there with the fans, also pouring out our passion and just showing the love that we have for our respective universities. One, that's what this partnership is about. But when you think about college football, when you think about rivalry games like Alabama, Tennessee, that's what it's about. Yes, it's about the play that we see on the field. Yes, it's about Kalen DeBoer versus Josh Heupel, Ty Simpson, Joey Aguilar. I get that. It means so much to the fans. That's what makes a rivalry game a rivalry game. You're going to have some houses that are 50% or maybe even 60% Alabama and 50 to 40% Tennessee, right? And then just imagine, even if you just split them up for a second, the two families apart, right? Or the families that are divided, and you take a mom and a son to Tuscaloosa, you take a dad and a daughter to Knoxville, and then they're sitting there at the Pepper Portal pouring out their passion for one another. Like that's stuff that makes memories. That's stuff that makes these games so fun and interactive for the fans. Even going back to all my days in the SEC championships, thinking about who's going to be in the Dr. Pepper toss at halftime, how many they're going to make. Could I make that many? Could I get my college paid for, which obviously I already did, but just being tongue in cheek though. But You know, again, when you think about Dr. Pepper, you think about college football. When you think about college football, you either think about Dr. Pepper or you immediately want an ice cold Dr. Pepper. So super cool what they're doing.
Yeah, it's very cool. I think that's really one of the coolest things about college football is just knowing the connection that programs have with their fan bases, with the cities overall. Growing up here in upstate New York, Western New York, just outside of Buffalo, it was cool to be able to grow up in a city that we had a pro sports team, and we had the University of Buffalo as well. But going to Syracuse, right, even just somewhere down the road. It was so cool to be able to see how the fan base takes over on game day and it really grows. So could you just talk a little bit about that? What was your experience like, playing in Tuscaloosa, and just what are some memories you have of, being able to play in Bryant Denny?
The first thing that always comes to mind when I think about playing at Alabama is the Walk of Champions, which is going to be right outside of Ramajama. So everybody that's there at the Pepsi Party, they have Tennessee fans in Knoxville. They might catch a glimpse of the Walk of Champions, but it was such a special honor, such a special tradition. I mean, stadium, that even all fit in the stadium's already 50% city. I mean, even for new players now, walking up and seeing Saban Field at Bryant Denny Stadium, then you have to walk over all the national championship teams where it's got every player listed. It's got the captains listed. Like, it is truly a walk of champions. And the expectation is if you make that walk, is that you're going to be a champion, not just a champion of football, a champion of life. Like we talk about at Alabama, that's where legends are made. So it's just that type of environment, that type of culture that, not only are you expected to be at your best, you're demanded to be at your best. There's a demand for you to be a champion of life. And it's all embodied by that, quick 30-second walk from getting off the bus to getting in the locker room. You get a moment to hug your loved ones, kiss your girl if she's there, let her fix your chain and, wipe the lipstick off of everything. But it just that one moment right there, I feel like embodies everything that it means to be a student, to be a fan, to be a faculty member at the University of Alabama.
Most definitely, yeah. That's a great thing, and I think that's what is so cool about college football is that connectivity that you guys have with the fan base and just the community as a whole. So, just talking a little bit about this year's team, right? That wasn't the greatest to start in week one, but they've really bounced back. The Tide has, I think, in my opinion, just covering the sport. I think they've been the most really resilient team throughout all of college football, being able to bounce back the way they have and just to really turn the tide, no pun intended. So if you could just share a little bit, what are your thoughts on this team, Coach DeBoer, what he's been doing, and seeing what Ty Simpson's been able to do under center too?
Listen, I agree with you. I mean, they're as resilient as it gets. I mean, when we talk about resiliency, like obviously we think about the week one loss against Florida State, right? The way that they bounced back all year. I even go back to losing to Vandy last year in Vanderbilt and then taking accountability for that, standing up to the challenge, looking in the mirror before you walked out on the field and knowing Diego Pavia is trying to get a statue made off of us for this game. Hell, he already beat us once and he made a name. Second time, he's trying to come in here and build a statue. Like, they are resilient. They are determined. Like that's what I look at. That's what I see when I look at this Alabama football team. They're determined in two ways. One, the determination is for every single player that steps foot on that football field, coaches included, trainers, nutrition staff, weight room. Everybody is expected to go out and perform at a championship and winning caliber. That is the expectation. But at the same time, they just surround each other with the feeling of we're all we got, we all we need. Everybody else outside of this locker room, if they're not in here putting in the same amount of work that we put in, if they're not sweating like we sweat, if they're not bleeding like we out here bleeding, going up against each other in the good on good team run periods, 7-on-7 periods, if they're not in here doing the same work that we doing, it does not matter. I have experienced that myself, being an alum, a former player, somebody that's in the media. I have to be critical of them when it's time to be critical. You know what they've told me to do on numerous occasions? Shut up, because you're not in here with us. You're not working the way we're working. I sat on TV and said, where the hell has Ryan Williams been? I haven't seen him in a couple weeks. You know what he did that same day? He went for 165 and 3 touchdowns. So that's what I mean about pulling each other tighter, pulling each other in closer like this, not like this. They are like this, in demanding the best out of each other, because they know that they got. If I'm Ty Simpson, I'm looking at Jam Millen. I'm saying, I need your absolute best because you're all I got. And guess what? You're all I need. So when you want to talk about resiliency, when you talk about determination, I mean, we're not even talking X's and O's and talking about the fact that Ty Simpson might be on his way to a Heisman. We're not even talking about that because it goes so far beyond the X's and O's. When we talk about expectation, when we talk about standard, when we talk about what we want to see when we turn on Alabama football, it's not as much of, okay, well, I want to make sure that Ty Simpson, he takes his 5-step drop. He doesn't take an extra hitch. He doesn't pat the ball too much in the pocket. No, we want to see you be determined. We want to see you be resilient. We want to see you go into every game knowing that Vandy, this is their Super Bowl. This is their college football national championship. Rise to that occasion. And we're seeing that. We're watching it happen in present time. So we have to give them the flowers for it.
Most definitely. Yeah, no, I definitely second that on Ty Simpson. I loved seeing what he did last week against Mizzou, at Mizzou. That was a tough environment. And of course, another ranked opponent in the SEC. Obviously, it's a gauntlet every week in the SEC. So, love to see him rise to that occasion. I'm sure that's what you're hoping for this weekend as well as they host the Vols. Before I let you go, just wanted to ask you quick, as far as just, with your career specifically, you got the fortune of being able to play under arguably the greatest college football coach of all time, and then arguably the greatest pro football coach of all time. So could you just talk a little bit about what it was like for you to be able to work with both Nick and Bill, and just, what are some things you learned from them that, you see a part of, even just thinking about what Bama is today. Obviously, Coach DeBoer has taken over the last couple of years, but, the foundation that Coach Saban has laid there as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, what a blessing to be able to learn not only football, but like life, learn how to be a good man, learn how to be a good husband and a good father. What a blessing it was for me to learn from the two of the best to ever do it. Now, I say it's a blessing for me. It might not be so much of a blessing for my wife, because every once in a while we'll start talking and then the Bill accent, I mean, it'll just start to come out, and, I'll just kind of start talking like Bill. And, every once in a while I'll just be like, I mean, this just isn't good enough. This just isn't cut it. Or sometimes I'll get my hair on fire and I'll start motivating like Nick Saban, and I'm like, "Ah," and my wife is just like, I just want you to be Damien, my husband. I'm not married to Nick. I'm not married to Bill. I'll tell you this, just a funny nugget. I was having a conversation with my wife, right? And this wasn't by any means a heated or spark conversation, but it was basically about one of us getting our way versus the other one of us getting our way. I sat there and told my wife, I was like, you're going to hate me for saying this. This isn't good marriage talk, but this is what I've learned from the two leaders that I've played for. If you and I are a team and one of us has to get our way, what does that mean? That means the other person is going to have to do the heavy lifting in that moment by giving the other person their way. Now, why is that so important, you may ask, wife? Because Nick Saban and Bill Belichick told me the importance of, when you're a team, at some point in a game, to have a successful play, to have a touchdown, throw or pass, there's going to be one guy on the offense that has to do the heavy lifting for the team and for the offense to have success, for the entire program to have success. So if one guy, if I looked at you, Damien, and said, you're going to have a tough block, but if you make that block, we're going to score a touchdown and that's going to equate to us winning, would you do it? Hell yeah. So just like in my relationship, just like in my marriage, if sometimes I got to give my wife her way just for the sake of having a successful day, having a successful marriage, I'm perfectly good with that. Sign me up for it. And now when I told my wife and made her that analogy, she was just like, yeah, no, that's not marriage talk at all. That's just, that you learned that from football. So all of that funny story to say, I've learned so much from both of those guys that I carry throughout my life as a husband, as a father, as a member of society. One of the greatest things that Nick Saban ever told me, one of the best things I've ever been told in my entire life, when people talk about you, they're going to say what they've got to say, and they're going to finish the sentence with either and or but. If they say and, they're probably going to follow it up with something else positive. If they say but, they're going to have a knock for you. Don't ever give somebody a reason to say but. Now, granted, I've got a 1-year-old son, and he don't understand what's up and what's down sometimes, especially when he's tired. But those are the things that I'll teach my son. Don't give anybody a reason to say, Dame, blah, 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 blah. But they're always going to say Dame, da, 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 da. And for myself, they're always going to say Damien Harris. We love his work on CBS, and he's a good father. And when he goes home, first thing he does is he takes his sons to swim class, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So all that to say, playing for both of those guys was a treasure. I can't even begin to divulge all the knowledge and all the resources I have just from being a part of their programs. But the greatest thing that I can say personally is, with what both of those gentlemen taught me, what I've listened to, what I've learned and heard, not only was I successful as a football player, I've been successful in life.
And that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of times people get it misconstrued and, oh, they're student athletes, but, they're football players first. And, I mean, you can speak to it. You played in the NFL and, were able to have a successful career, in your time there. So, but, just knowing that what you're doing post playing, I think is what's most important. And most of these guys have to really come to grips with is that the game is going to end at some point. You just have to know, hey, I'm going to be okay to be a positive contributing member in society once that point comes. So awesome. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you, Dane. Really appreciate you. Excited to see what the Tide do this weekend against the Vols. Excited to see what you guys are able to do in the Pepper Portal, and I'm sure you and Josh Dobbs will be talking a little smack to each other when it comes Saturday.
We'll be pouring out our passion for sure.
Love to hear it. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, and excited to see what happens this weekend.
Sir, I appreciate your time as well. Have a good one.
You too.